Gates of Orchid and Iris is brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you. Remember to like, share, comment, review, and subscribe to our podcast. Hello, this is Gates of Orchid and Iris. I am the GM, Paul. And who is playing tonight?
This is Sebastian, Cbass, and I'm playing Ikoma Chusei.
This is Gatts, and I'm playing Kaio Suko.
This is Ludo, and I'll be playing Matsu Erika.
This is Rachel, and I am playing Kuni Suiko.
I'm Mason, I'm playing Shishiro Saika.
I'm Kay, and I will be playing various NPCs today.
Ryoko Seiya is actually sitting, close to you. Almost as close as some of the couples have been. And, they first asked the question, "Oh, Shishiro Seika, where did you meet Ryoko Seiya?"
I will look to her. I don't know if it's possible to tell with the mempo, but there is sort of a grin. And I'm going to this is more a playful way, and I'll be like, it's such an interesting story. I think she should tell it.
And she gives you back the smile, even though, clearly we can't see the smile. And she says, "It was last year, and I was wandering the streets of the merchant district. I was buying flowers, and I turned around, and I saw this extraordinary mask on this man. I just had to know who he was. So it almost seemed like something out of a kabuki play where there was a crowd, and they parted, and somehow led me straight toward him. Except I was so shy at the moment. I only could ask him directions to the nearest tea house." And everybody, laughs. Of course, there's more questions. Like, "Shishiro Seika, what do you do in the city?"
Man, that's a good question.
And as you think about your cover, someone, you can't really tell who, because there's been people coming in and going out, and there's been a few people who are totally dressed like courtiers and stuff, and some faceless schmo kind of says, "Well, apparently he doesn't go to court," and there's a little laughter because all the court people kind of know who the court people are.
Yeah, I'll explain. I was sent to the city some time ago to assist Soshi Dokumi. It is a task that is very interesting, but it is what I was asked to do, and I do as instructed.
And as soon as that name floats in the air, Shishiro Jocho gets sort of a look on his face. It's not exactly suspicion, but it's something like, "Oh, you work for her." Actually, he probably even says it audibly. "Oh, how is Soshi Dokumi these days?"
She is well, and I'm sure if you ever wanted to come down to the tea house, she'd be more than happy to have you.
And he smiles. "I will let her know that you invited me there. Thank you."
Of course, I hope I'm there as well when you visit.
I'm sure it will be an experience to see you there, as I'm sure she is down there, and say what a wonderful time you had and what a polite guest you were. And he kind of looks at Yoga Sayas suspiciously, like, who did you invite today? What's going on?
And for the moment, I'll just, continue to partake in a bit of sake. But I mean, as far as that bit of conversation, I just kind of let it linger and see if he or someone else moves to change the subject.
Yeah. Shiba Shonagon, like, kind of shifts the subject to something else a little bit nicer, and she starts talking about her plans about the Cherry Blossom Festival that's happening in a month or so, and the conversation kind of rolls into that. And after a while, like, how long do you stay there? Like,
I mean, I will stay for as long as things continue. Again, with the mindset of, like, this is what I was tasked to do. I will do this.
The performance of the geishas stops, and she gets up and goes. The sake and whatever they're smoking and the shots, like, dry up after a while. And, like, some people are still asleep, but still the people who are up are a little rowdy. And, someone goes, hey, let's go somewhere else. And there's a cheer, and Shishiro Jocho is, like, all into it. And you spend the rest of the night bar hopping. You start going from geisha house to just straight up sake houses to one or two places that serve other alcoholic drinks. I mean, it's kind of becomes a bender after a bit. And could you give me an Earth fitness check?
I could surely try.
And the TN is gonna be, I'm gonna say you've been pacing yourself to at least 2.
Well, that should do.
That looks pretty good. And as always, why are you adding on strife? What is happening to make you more stressed out?
We moved from a more private setting to a more public with our party. So I assume that is itself, again, it's just, this is all outside my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm. It's social, it's rowdy, it's a lot of alcohol, and you don't take the opium, but there's still a lot of opium, like, being done, and that's illegal in some ways. And they're just, you're the, like, indoor person, and one of your friends was like, yeah, come meet my other friends, you'll have so much fun. And you spend all the night, like, bar hopping, and it's not your scene. You're all about, like, peace and tranquility, and these people are like, yeah, let's get rowdy and let's get drunk. Basically, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yep. And after a bit, you find yourself being taken away by Ryoko Seiya. And she looks at you. She does see that, you are starting to get a little bit stressed, and you're not quite enjoying yourself. And she finds like a private alley, or somewhere more private than like all the bars they've been hopping. Gates of Orchid and Iris will return in a moment.
Welcome to Cultural Explorations. In this gameplay break, let us explore Asian culture. During this break, we will discuss tea. Tea originated in southern China as a medicinal drink. During the Sui and Tang dynasties, tea evolved from just a medicinal drink into a leisure drink. This drink was seen as fresh and pure in comparison to the intoxication and often violence drinks like wine would bring. This made tea drinking perfect for philosophical discussions. In the Tang dynasty, the first publication of its kind was written by Lu Yu, dubbed the Sage of Tea. This book, called the Book of Tea, is a comprehensive summary of all the aspects of tea, including its medicinal uses and how tea is made. In the Song dynasty, rules around tea became more strict and quality improved even more. During this time, poems and paintings of tea also became popular. Song is considered tea's golden age and also saw the flourishment of tea houses. Tea culture suffered during the Mongol Yuan dynasty, but then underwent a renaissance during the Ming dynasty, with one of the major developments coming in the form of changing from bricks of tea leaves to loose leaf, which has survived into modern times. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, tea drinking reached the rural areas of China, helped in part by the governments allowing people to freely plant tea trees. Some fun facts about tea are: tea is the second most popular drink after water. On average around the world, 3 billion cups of tea are consumed in a single day. All tea comes from the same plant. The different types of tea occur by processing them differently. In Shandong province, there is a forest of tea trees known as Jiangmai Tea Forest, whose trees are over 1,300 years old. In around 1908, a New York businessman would sell tea leaves in silk bags. Customers misunderstood, and rather than pour the leaves out, they would steep the leaves within the bags. Thus, the tea bag was accidentally born. Thank you for listening. Wish to know more on this topic or others? Visit our Patreon for longer cultural explorations. And now, let us see where our characters' paths will lead them.
And she finally asks you, "So, do you think you got what you needed? Do you think your duty is done?"
I believe I may, but I am one to ensure that it is completely done. I can continue for now.
She nods. "Well, I'd hate to get in the way of your duty." And she takes your hand, and she closes her other hand over it. "But you do have to know when your duty stops." And she pats your hand, and then leads you back to the group. And so the night continues with bar hopping. And Jocho and you guys end up finding yourselves back kind of like more toward the main entrance, and in the funny looking stone building, which is called, I think I know what the name is, but I really have to double check here. House of Stories? House of Stories. Yep, it's called the House of Stories. And this is where things kind of get like way out of your ballpark. Like Jojo and his friends like sit down at a table and start eating things, challenging each other to eat spicier and spicier things as people who are inebriated do. And, they expect you to join along since you're kind of part of this crew now. Things start kind of becoming blurry. The music starts getting, like, a little bit louder. And give me one more Earth Fitness check. And we're going to increase it by one more. So it's going to be between 3 instead of 2. I think you're going to do it. So how are you doing now?
That makes up for that earlier roll.
That was amazing. So listeners at home, you can continually have explosive successes until you either get something that doesn't explode anymore. And he just rolled 2 explosive successes in a row, but has taken some strife. And I'm guessing, once again, this is more stuff of, this is out of your wheelhouse. This is, social
Absolutely.
things. Yeah. But you're doing strong. You are not getting too overly drunk. You are keeping your wits about you. And
but I'm now finding it probably hitting my limit. Because you can take strife equal to,
yes,
which number was
equal to what your composure, which should be something plus something equals something.
Mine, I believe, is currently 8, so I'm at 7 of 8. So, I'm hitting my limit here.
Yep. And for the folks that are listening, once you get over that limit, things start happening. First, you can't keep any more dice that you roll that have strife on it. You have to completely ignore those. Second, you can do something called unmasking. And unmasking is a situation where you can get rid of all that strife, all the stress, but you have to act outwardly, and there's consequences in either honor or glory with those. And there's a few other, funny little things that happen, but that's not happening at the moment. You're just almost to your limit, just taking it to the limit.
Yeah, sadly, I have not been able to trigger my strife removal.
And Yogosea, she's still looking a little rough. She's been, rolling with you and doing all the things, and the spicy food is finally, getting to her, and she can't, her porcelain skin is finally starting to look a little flushed and human colored around the cheeks and on her nose. And, after a while, the happy couple that are soon to be married, left. And it really gets down to you, Shishiro Jojo, Shiba Shanagon, and, of course, Yogosea. You guys are the ones left. You have won the night, so to speak, if hangovers are winning. And you guys are still kind of in a you're at a table, but it's kind of in a semi-private area, as Jojo eats his third pepper spicy thing that he's encouraging everyone else to partake in. And he leans in and he's like, I thought you couldn't last this long.
I do not let a task go undone.
Oh, so this is a task for you. I was afraid that you were going to have a little fun.
It may have been. That would be a side effect, though.
And so, she sent you here. And it gives you that knowing look.
I'll just nod.
And he nods, and he gives you that, like, yep, bud, I thought so, look. Well, it's probably better that we both pretend that she didn't, because that's what you're here for. He kind of gives you, like, a half smirk. And you see him almost, like, for a moment, topple over, but he catches himself. He's extremely drunk right now. So, like, there's a few moments of silence. Shiba Shanagan is like, she looks almost too sober. She's holding herself upright. She is like, looks like she's probably enjoying life, but, you know, you've been seeing her, like, kick back sake, like, a lot. Like, almost an alarming amount. And, there's silence at this table as all of you, well, I don't know if you're partaking in the spicy food, but JoJo is, like, munching it down and drinking a lot of water, but still a lot of alcohol. And, it's really early in the morning, and you finally hear, like, this bellow coming from, like, upstairs, and it goes down, and there's a lot of men with a lot of those basket masks on that are all hiding their identity, and they seem to be leaving in a group. And Jocho, like, looks at them, raises a cup, and, like, does some kind of, like, greeting, but kind of just wobbles. And he just smirks at the whole group. And Yogase, it looks like she's spacing out for a moment, but, like, she gets this horrified look on her face. And she looks at you and says quietly, "We need to talk right now."
I will look to Jocho. I will nod. You have been a gracious host, but I believe it is time for the lady to return home. And I feel it would be inappropriate to leave her unescorted. So until next time, I bid you adieu.
And he tries to bow as graciously as he can, but is very wobbly. And he says, "You can join us anytime you want. You are more of us than you think you are of you." And he sits back down. And Shiba Shanaga kind of looks at him and is like, what did you just say, dude? Thank you for listening to Gates of Orchid and Iris. Remember to share, comment, and rate us where you can. If you're listening on YouTube, subscribe, like, and hit that bell notification button. Support this podcast by either going to our Anchor.fm page and hitting the listener support button, or supporting us through Patreon. On Patreon, the $1 level not only will help improve this podcast, but you will receive an extended version of the cultural exploration segments monthly. And we have a lot of other fun things planned for Patreon.